Hi everybody, and welcome to this Explain Everything webinar on how to record explainer videos. I'm Anastasia.
And I'm Bart, hello.
And we're going to tell you all you need to know to get started recording your own explainer videos. We're going to go through the basics. I'm going to take the basics, and then Bart here is going to take it a step further, right, Bart?
Oh, how fascinating. Okay, I'm happy to.
He knew about this before, he did. Anyway, so I'm going to show you a couple of different things that you need to get started recording your videos. So I'm going to show you how to get your materials ready, how to create, video instructions to illustrate, an assignment for your students or something like this quickly and easily, how to share your video 2 different ways, and then Bart is, as I said, going to take it up a notch. So, but let's talk about recording just for 1 second, Bart, because this is the original Explain Everything use case, is it not?
That is correct. Whiteboard recording is something we started with when building this platform.
Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of went on from there, right?
Yeah. And, we added collaboration, we added sharing, and now Explain Everything is also used as a replacement for chalkboards or pen boards.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And you, as a university professor, you also use this in your everyday work, right? As an educator.
I do, yes, but I tend to use recordings for short explanations, like those moments and times when you need to capture the gist of something or just highlight some important facts, and then recording comes easy. It comes handy.
Yeah, I think you mentioned to me once also that you kind of like to use recordings to provide your students, like who are absent, right, with some sort of summary from a lesson or a lecture.
Yes, sharing a longer lecture, it might be difficult for students, but if you capture just the essence in a few minutes, using Explain Everything recording, I think it's very efficient way to transfer this information.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that the significance of videos in education is becoming more and more apparent to a lot of people, and that's why we're here. So let's get started. In that case, I'm gonna take it just from scratch. So I'm gonna start with a blank canvas, as you see right here. And I'm going to show you how you would go about creating a very simple explainer video to, say, for instance, give your students some homework or something like this. I'm going to start by just changing the name of my whiteboard because whiteboard 11 just doesn't quite encapsulate what I would like it to. So I think we are going to go with... there's this fantastic book that we use called Black Hole Math. So I'm just going to title this lesson in a slightly more interesting way. And here
So
we
astronomy,
are.
huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of math and astronomy, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start just by adding a page or a couple of pages of a book from my canvas. If you tap the Add Media icon, as I just did right here, and then you tap File, you can see all of the different locations that you can choose from when adding files to your canvas. The book I want to use is actually located on my device in my Files folder, and here it is right now.
That's actually a very good starting point, to begin with some existing materials, because there are teachers out there that like to create their video explanation starting from the scratch, just from a blank page as you have now on your whiteboard. But we suggest to start with slides or pages from the book to make it easy.
Yeah,
first go.
Yeah, I think a lot of people hear like recording videos and they think that it has to be like, this super polished video, this super polished like YouTuber style video, and it doesn't have to be that. It can be something as simple as what I'm about to show you. So once again, Add Media, in my case, the Files folder. I'm going to select the book that I want. I don't want all these pages on my canvas, so I'll tap Deselect All, and then I'm going to go with page 13. As you can see, I can decide how I want my pages to be arranged, and then just tap Insert, and here we are. So as I said, this is going to be kind of like a homework assignment video, so I'm just going to record, how long should this be? 30 seconds?
Yeah.
That would be sufficient, right?
Something short, yeah.
Okay, and while I do, I'm also going to show you how to use, different tools while you're recording, because when you record an explainer video, it's not just your voice being recorded, right? It's everything else you do on the canvas, right?
Exactly. all the actions, all the tools that you're using for explanations, and also all the movement around the canvas. You now are using just one single page, but it might be that for the purpose of your presentation or your explanation, you need several pages, and then the movement around the canvas
Of course.
is also captured.
Yes, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that in that case. Everyone knows what the record icon looks like, so it's right down here at the bottom. And yeah, let's get started, shall we?
Okay.
Okay, class, so today what I would like you to do is I would like you to read this text right here, and then after that, I would like you to do the problems here. I'd like you to do problems A to D. And I can stop my recording right here. As you can see, it's very short. It's only 18 seconds long, but I wanted to turn your attention to what's just popped up here. So we have 2 tracks, and yeah, Bart, do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about what these tracks mean and what we can do with them?
Yeah, we call this a timeline, right? So this is a visual aid that shows you your voice track that's on the bottom, and all the manipulations or actions.
As you can
like
see here.
Yeah, for example, here you used the pen, the red pen,
Yeah.
and hand tool to move this page. And this is visually illustrated by this upper track on the timeline. What I like about the example that you provided here is that when you move the page
Right.
that was first annotated with this green color, the annotations stick to the page. Can you show this to us one more time?
Sure, yeah, of course. So do you want me to just like rewind and show how that
Yeah,
happens?
let's just play the video.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no problem. I'm just gonna tap play then. It's quite short, so let's go. Okay, class. So today what I would like you to do is I would like you to read this text right here, and then after that, I would like you to
Then you
do
move the page,
problems.
right?
Here, I'd like
And then
to
you
do
added
problems
additional
A to
annotation on top of it. And this is quite unique to Explain Everything. Is what we try to do is we try to mimic the appearance and behavior of real life objects. When you write on a piece of paper and you move the paper, obviously everything you write on top of it sticks to it.
I'm
right?
really glad you brought that up actually, because like I've seen different like apps where you can annotate, but a lot of times when you shrink down the page that you were annotating, your annotations just kind
Just
of
fall off, right?
They fall off
Yeah.
and they just kind of hang out in the middle of the screen just awkwardly. And this is something that doesn't happen in Explain Everything because, as you mentioned, we're our goal is to imitate the actual feel of writing on paper. So I'm really
Exactly.
glad that you brought that up.
But there are those benefits. Sometimes you just need to take away those things that you added on top of the page. And of course, you can disconnect, technically speaking,
You can, sure.
what you wrote on top of the page by ungrouping objects. We're grouping objects here, technically speaking.
Yes,
right?
of course you could do that if you wanted to. But the inspector tool, I think that's a topic for like an entire
it's
other
not something
webinar.
we want to cover today. It's just
It's got like 30 functionalities, so yeah, we'll come around to that maybe in another webinar. But now that we have our short and to the point homework assignment video, what we're going to want to do is share it with our students, right? So
okay.
there are 2 different ways to share a video, and yeah, Bart, which one do we prefer here?
I think the fastest way of sharing video is by using our cloud. That is creating web video link. We call this web video link. It's just like 2 taps away. And by this, what you're actually doing is that you're providing your editable project. You're uploading this project to the cloud and it gets converted into video stream. So anyone on any devices can watch it.
So they just click the link, right, and they can watch it. They don't need to be on Explain Everything or using Explain Everything.
Yes.
Great.
So from the viewer's perspective, this is super easy because they just get a link and they can watch the video. But
Just
for
like clicking on a
you-
YouTube link, right, and watching
Yeah.
the video.
However, it's different than YouTube because what you have as owner of this project is both project on the cloud and the recording. So At any moment of time, if you want to redo the video or change this, you can do that in the cloud.
You just spoiled exactly what I wanted to show everybody in the next step, but okay, all right, I'm going to show you anyways. So as Bart said, if we just tap share right here in the upper right corner, and then we tap create web video link, you can see what happens. We have our link right here that was created in a grand total of like, I don't know, 3 seconds. And we can share this link any way that we like, using an LMS or email or whatever.
Or just a message, right?
Yeah, or just as a message, or any way that we prefer. Because me and Bart are sitting in such close proximity to one another, I'm going to use AirDrop. And here is Bart.
Oh,
And if
my
you just-
lovely device, right?
Yes, your lovely bagel device. If you could just accept it.
So as you see on here on my screen, I can accept the link and it will take me directly to the video. And now I can just play the video and watch it as a student would. So that's super easy the way I see it.
Yeah, that is definitely super simple and straightforward. I wanted to show the other way of sharing videos as well before I get back to this. So if I tapped share right here, I could also tap export. And
Yes.
what happens when I tap export is that the video is then like rendered and stored on my device. So it doesn't go to the cloud, right? It just stays on my device. What would you say are the pros and cons of this option, Bart?
This is like alternative method of rendering your video. What happens when you're sharing through the cloud is that the cloud takes the heavy lifting, you know, and renders the video for you,
Right.
providing you with the stream. And when you export, as you're now showing, what is happening is that the rendering needs to be provided by your device.
Exactly.
So the video stays on your device, and it might be a good solution if you're, let's say, you don't have a network connectivity, for example, right?
Exactly. Of course. I think that's probably the best example, actually. If you happen to be, I don't know, on a plane or somewhere where you just don't have any internet, then yeah. As you can see here, we have a whole bunch of formats to choose from, but I don't think this video calls for IMAX, so we're just going to leave it as it was. Is there anything else I should mention here before I tap export?
Just a bit of suggestion that if you have a longer video, we would suggest to render it through the cloud because then it's much faster.
It is.
Right?
It is. And also, of course, rendering the video using the cloud means that this video is available to you wherever you can log into your Explain Everything account. Whereas rendering it, on your device, like I'm doing right now, means that it is like physically inside your device.
So another step is necessary, like pushing it to YouTube or anywhere else.
Yeah,
right?
or if you don't happen to have your device with you, you won't have access to that video. So it really does depend on your on your needs and priorities. I'm gonna save it to my photos folder, and there it goes.
And now you see the process of rendering this video.
Exactly. As you can see, even with a shorter video, the rendering process does take longer, right, on device than it does, using the cloud. But we're almost there. And there we go. It's been saved to my photos folder. So that was the absolute basic scenario. But I was just thinking, Bart, do you think my students could use an example of what I'm asking them to do here?
Of course, and by this we can demonstrate how to enhance your video, right?
Exactly what you spoiled for me before, because I was going to do the big reveal that just because you shared a video doesn't mean you can't edit it anymore. You can continue editing it and then share it as a new video. So it really is very, very flexible in that way.
But here in this example, in the second example we're going to provide you with, we're going to enlarge the video by adding additional segment on the end of the existing one, right?
Yes, I think that's what we're going to do. Let me just make sure that I'm at the end. I am. Okay, so I think...
and that's actually quite important. So you opened this timeline. How you did that?
Oh, yeah. I tapped the little arrow right here. And then if I tap it again, then it just kind of shrinks down.
That's hidden behind the timer.
Exactly. So you can bring it up if you need it and just shrink it down if you don't. I don't currently need it, so what I'm going to do is just use my hand tool to kind of move this page here, because what I'd like to do now is add a graph to my canvas as well, so I can demonstrate to my students what I would like them to do.
Okay, and this is quite important because you stopped your video at some point, and that was at the very end of the video. And you're
Right.
going to add additional content to the canvas, right?
Yes.
So whatever you do in that very moment where you paused in time at the end of the video is going to be visible. So this gives you a lot of time when producing video because you can stop at any moment and reshuffle, reorganize content, add new elements to it before you resume your recording.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned that, just because, again, I think I mentioned this before, but a lot of people, are afraid that everything has to be perfect the first time around when they're doing a video. And Explain Everything, the timeline and all the editing options, they give you so much flexibility. You can take your time. If it takes you longer or shorter, it's really up to you.
It's
right?
by design. We want you to take a breath, relax, and do your video in steps if you would like to, right?
Of course.
You don't need to do everything at the same time.
Totally. So that's what I did right now. I stopped my video, but I'd like to add that grid, as I mentioned, so I can, tell my students or show my students what I would like them to do. So I'm going to go back to the Add Media icon and then to File and then to Files, because I already have this grid prepared here in my files. And I'm just going to tap this grid.
Oh, okay. So you already have this element.
Yes, I had it prepared. Tap Done, and I'm going to maybe shrink it down a bit and move it off to the side. And now that I have this element, I can continue recording, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do, let's see if I have my pen tool, black. Okay, students, and what I would like you to do is I would like you to do examples A to D, just like I'm doing A right now. So X is 6,600, which is somewhere here, and Y is negative 2,400, which is somewhere here. So this would be point A, and I'd like you to do B, C, and D the same way. Okay.
Very nice.
Yes, lovely. I was very good at math in high school. So, so as you can see here, our recording is now made up of two parts. Like I opened the timeline, right? And you can see that our recording is made up of two parts.
Oh, that's interesting. So could you show exactly where they are stitched together?
Sure, right here. Can you see it?
Yeah, okay.
And if I tapped play, you could see how suddenly my grid is exactly where I needed it to be. What a happy coincidence. And I'm speaking and now adding the points to the grid. And if I wanted to share this video, this new and improved version of the video with my students, all I would have to do is tap share one more time, create a new fresh web video link. Also, something I forgot to mention before that's also very useful is here. I could either allow project download or not, depending on my preference. I have a new link.
So this project download thing, how would you use that?
How would I use it?
For what?
Well, say for instance, if I wanted my students to improve on a project that I had already created, right? They could download it and they could add to it and then they could share it back with me, right?
Yeah. So you can think of your recording as a part of a template. If you allow project to be downloaded, your students will be able to take this project into their Explain Everything and perhaps use the contents that you left on the canvas. So to pick up from where you left it, right?
Exactly. And that way, every student that you sent this template to would send you back their own version, their own spin on what you created originally. So if I just tap, how should I share this with you, Bart? Should I share it just via AirDrop again, or how do you prefer?
Yeah, let's use AirDrop for now. As we mentioned, you have all of those magnificent options. Perhaps it's good to show what sort of integrated apps you have on available for you.
When it comes to LMS, I think Showbie is the only one I currently have on my device. But yeah,
but it could be a Google Classroom, for example.
Of course. All right, so I guess I'll just do AirDrop in that case. And there you are again.
And so let's switch to my view. And as you see, I have this link coming up. I can open it. And what I see is the video again And if I play this video is composed of two parts. This first one here, right? And the second one. And I really like how easy it is. I mean, and how fast you could do this.
True.
Without
true.
using any video editing software. This is really cool.
But we did promise the audience that you take it up a notch, so it's your turn.
Now I understand why you made this project downloadable.
That is exactly why. So, what are you going to show us? I think that the audience would really benefit from like maybe a discussion of timeline modes, for example.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do this. Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is step into the shoes of student, and I'm going to download this project because I already see the bottom, the button download here, so I can do that. So let's look at my Explain Everything now. So
Sure.
project is open here, right? And I can scroll through it, and I see those two parts, and perhaps the recording modes. This is something that might be very useful when creating explainer videos because there are different ways how you can record. Now we're using this mix mode. It's just listed here. That allows us to layer recordings one on top of another. So maybe let's start with that. What it means is that we can add additional elements to our explanation here. So I'll take yours, and perhaps this moment where you mark the celestial body here
Sure.
with letter A, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add circle around it just to get students' attention to this one element.
That
So
sounds good.
what I can do is to use mix mode, which is turned on by default. I'll mute microphone because I don't want to add any additional voice track.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that because if you don't mute your microphone, of course, what happens is you end up recording new audio on top of the old audio, and that can get pretty creepy pretty fast.
Yes.
So,
And this audio here is good enough, so I don't want to add any additional element to this layer of the recording. What I want to do is just to add visual emphasis to the element that you created.
sure.
So I'm going to press record now. The video plays, but I can add the circle around A here. Okay? And then
Okay.
I press
That's good.
stop. So what I did, that was a mix mode of you drawing letter A and me at the same time drawing a circle around letter A.
It happened at the same time.
Yes, and it happened
Cool.
at the same time. And you can imagine we can now go again and again, repeat the same moves to add additional elements of this video.
Yeah, and I think what's important to mention here is that, the people who will be watching your video don't know how many takes it took you to do this. And so suddenly they see this like fancy animation. They're like, wow, because
Yeah.
Explain Everything makes it really easy to create things that actually look pretty impressive at the end of the day, or they can.
And they even shouldn't know, that's the trick up your sleeve, I would say. So use it with caution. I'm joking, use it all the time because it's so super cool. You can end up with quite sophisticated animation with those simple steps that we're showing you here.
Exactly.
Okay, the other mode that I wanted to show you is the insert mode. So let's say I want to separate those two segments of your video. This
Sure.
introduction that, let me just scroll to it, that you provided here, right?
Okay.
And then there's second element.
Yeah, that second piece that I recorded.
where you gave an example, right?
Right.
So let's say I want to provide some space between those two components. So I want to enlarge the video, adding additional 2 seconds, and then writing their demonstration, not
Okay.
demonstration, but demonstration. Right?
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to switch the mix mode recording to insert mode, which allows me to expand the video.
And kind of like you're making a sandwich. You like take apart the 2 pieces of bread and put some cheese in there.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the cheese
Food
for you.
analogy, my favorite. Okay.
What you need to be cautious of is where your playhead, this red line here, we call this playhead, where the playhead is located, because that's exactly the moment where the expansion will occur.
Yeah.
So let's say that's at the very end of this segment, and I'll just press record. And for now, I'll just record 2 seconds of empty space. I stopped. And now you see there's this 2 seconds of empty space that now
You can fill with whatever you want, right?
Exactly. So which mode would be ideal for that filling?
Probably insert mode as well.
Then it would expand it even more.
Okay, no. All right. So then mix mode, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
So let's use mix mode for that. Okay, so I'll change the mix mode here, and I will add a text. Demonstration. Oh, I meant demonstration.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
less demons, the better in this project, I think.
That's true. I'll just fill it with some color. Okay. Perhaps I can enlarge it. Just like that. Okay. So that's an element that I added to my canvas. And this element will be visible in this very place.
So in that time frame that you mentioned, right? 2 seconds? Or just for the rest of the video as well?
Well, let's see. Let's see. If
Okay.
I scroll back, it will not be visible because it was added on 18th second of the recording.
Right.
Here. And if I scroll forward, it will remain visible throughout the entire video.
Okay.
And which, obviously, it's not something we want, right?
No, because it's kind of like covering up the the grid over there.
Yeah, exactly. So we want this element to disappear after 2 seconds, but we can even go wild here and try
Okay.
to move this element around just for more dynamic way of, demonstrating.
Sure, that's
that is a-
definitely more like eye-catching and whatever.
So for that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to press record and take this hand tool here to move it around. So let's record again. And that's again a mix mode. So I'm pressing record, grabbing this object with 2 fingers for some motion,
Uh-huh.
and that's it. So now you see that there is a moment in time, that is 18th second, where this element appears on the screen.
Right.
And then there's this movement. I used hand tool that I added to this object, right? Now the last thing we want to do is to remove this object before the remaining element of your recording
Yeah.
is visible.
So it doesn't get in the way, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
So for that, we can use the delete tool. That's the X here.
Right.
I can select this object and just delete it. And when I play back this section, I'll just scroll back to 15 second.
Okay.
When I play it back, you'll see this.
It's a little thing, but it just makes this video so much more visually engaging, I think.
And as you see, we have all the time in the world to add additional elements and polish your video using those simple tricks. Nothing fancy. We add objects, we move them around, we remove them when necessary.
Exactly. No, there's an enormous amount of flexibility here. So thank you for that. Do you think you could just touch on overwrite mode for a second too, just so we cover all 3 of them?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So let's say that we want to use this 3rd mode, overwrite mode, and I'll use it at the very end of the recording. Let's say I'll just add some rubbish here because your video is very nicely done, but I need something I will overwrite with this by using this mode. So
Sure.
I'll just scribble on top of this video.
Oh no,
This
you
is-
ruined it.
Don't worry, this is just this last element that I added. But let's say we want at the end to show the picture of black hole instead of this, what it is.
Whatever it is, exactly.
Whatever it is. So for that, I can turn on overwrite mode, right? Press record,
Okay.
and it will show me warning. Okay, by continuing, you will overwrite the existing content from this moment onwards, which is exactly what I want.
Of course.
So I can turn overwrite, unmute my microphone if I like, and let's say add this picture of a black hole at the end of the video. I'll stop here, and now you'll notice that after your explanation, there is no... What was that?
It was like
basically?
a scribble of some kind.
Yeah. There's nothing as that anymore. There is my voice, that's the audio track, and then I added this black hole picture of a black hole, and I enlarge it with my hand tool.
So it slowly encompasses the whole screen. Very dramatic. I love it.
What we can do now is to even improve this ending by removing my voice here, because it's not necessary.
Sure,
that was not
sure.
a part of explanation.
Oh, that's great. Show everybody how to do that then too, huh?
Sure. I will press and hold this element, and now I see menu of options. All I need to do is to select delete, and it's gone, right?
Yeah, that was really easy actually.
Now the only thing that worries me is this empty space between your explanation, right? And this picture of a black hole.
Yeah, what are we going to do about that?
We can trim it.
Let's do it.
Okay. For that, I will select this empty space with a selection tool here. And I will use the tool we call delete and compact.
To just highlight what you don't want and then get rid of it, right?
Exactly. And now
There it goes.
that's exactly what I did now. So once I play the video, that's what you'll see.
Okay. That is a lot more smoother, I think, now than it was before, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that all of the extra features that you wanted to show our audience today?
That's not all, but I think it's good to stop here. It's worth saying that Explain Everything is full of options that will surprise you, may surprise you. If you try to look for additional options, we encourage you to look at the webinars and step-by-step guides that we provide.
Yes, the step-by-step guides that we recently created. There's level 1, level 2 will be with us shortly, or depending when you watch this, may already be with us, so it's like right about now. And of course, our help center filled with hundreds of helpful articles about how to use Explain Everything on practically every platform, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we want to leave you with is this last advice is not to worry about your contents when you're creating explainer videos. You're safe with Explain Everything. Just take it step by step, improve it with those steps, take it easy, take your time, and yeah, we hope you'll arrive at great results.
Exactly. So thank you for joining us, and happy explaining. We'll see you in the next one.
See you.